Before we begin this presentation, please note that it is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. If you believe in the supernatural, we kindly ask that you take a moment to affirm, "I claim no negative energy from this video. May only positive, protective energy surround me and keep me safe as I engage with this content." Thank you. And now, let's float into our story. From the flames on Cleveland Street. The March wind howled outside the modest Wisconsin home on Cherry Street, mirroring the unease churning within the seasoned attorneys. Before Nick's 2022 hearing, 2 members of his legal team traveled to Wisconsin for a visit with his family in early 2021. They were there on a grim mission to better understand Nick's past. Hoping for some mitigating factor, they ended up unearthing much more. During their time with Nick's mum, she shared an eerie and unforgettable story about their former home on Cleveland Street, where they lived for nearly 7 or 8 years. According to Stephanie, it was haunted. The house on Cleveland Street in Wisconsin was a cage of secrets, its walls whispering tales of a presence long witnessed, even after the Goldammer family had fled. For Stephanie, it was a place of lingering echoes, a stain on her memory. Her voice was barely above a whisper, the vision still raw after all these years. Nick, back then a curious and restless 20-year-old, sought answers in the supernatural. He bought candles online from a voodoo shop in Alaska, claiming they were meant to facilitate communication with spirits. But Stephanie believed they were a key, unlocking something sinister. The Halloween party was etched in her mind. A night of utopia turned into a nightmare fueled by something far more malevolent. The laughter and music were abruptly silenced by the piercing shriek of the smoke alarm. The fire contained in Nick's room seemed to have a target, a purpose. The very room where the candles sat on his dresser. Nick, in his unsettling way, contributed to the narrative. He spoke of portals opened, of 13 spirits unexpectedly invited into the house, 12 benevolent, 1 malevolent. He described the rattling doors and the whispering winds that seemed to carry voices, attributing them to the darker spirit. Years prior, at his home on 71st Street, when Nick was 9 years old, at exactly 9:45 a.m., he remembered seeing his grandmother, Dottie Foley, Stephanie's mother, in his room, an apparition of a woman who had passed away when his mum was 15. Stephanie also remembered the night she saw her, this time at the house on Cleveland Street, standing over Quinn's crib just after his birth. She had known then that they weren't alone, but that night had felt different. Back then, her mother's presence had been peaceful, like a quiet, protective light watching over her grandsons. Now, something else was coming out at night. Quinn began waking up unsettled, telling Stephanie and her husband, Charlie, that someone or something was in his room. He couldn't explain it, but his eyes said enough. Whatever it wasn't kind. Stephanie believed him. She believed something was trying to hurt her son, and that time, it wasn't her mother. Nick perpetuated the tales. He spoke of his cousin Ricky as a lightning rod for the supernatural. The voices, he claimed, became louder, more insistent when Ricky was present. In one of their old YouTube videos recorded in Nick's room on Cleveland Street, a faint, almost inaudible voice, barely a whisper, seemed to say, "I love you, Nick." Here is that part of the video. In another section of that same video, Nick said you can also hear the spirit say, "Marry me." We cannot locate that exact moment, however. As the video nears its end, Ricky's voice trembles with unease as he urgently mentions to Nick, not once but twice. Spirits. There's something in his tone. There's a weight in his words, as if he's not just seeing something, but feeling it. It's recognition. Also, notice the multiple orbs that manifest and begin to drift into frame, quiet, deliberate, and almost sentient. While experts continue to debate the legitimacy of orbs as paranormal evidence, their eerie appearance right as Ricky begins to show signs of the spirit's influence feels far too timely to ignore. Here's that final portion.
What crap? Spirits.
Huh?
Spirits.
Yeah? What?
But it wasn't only auditory and visual experiences. Stephanie insisted she had captured evidence on her phone or tablet. Unfortunately, she no longer had the photos but recalled a ghostly figure lurking behind them during a family movie night. Nick remembers this photo as well and feels it was his grandmother's presence checking in on her bloodline once again. However, in another image, Stephanie's own hair appeared to be pulled by an invisible hand. The attorneys shifted uncomfortably, their professional skepticism struggling against the genuine terror in Stephanie's voice. It was also in this haunted home that Nick created his profile on ChristianDatingForFree.com. His intentions were pure, searching for true love, but one could almost hear the gears turning in the unseen realm. Whatever force guided his hand that night wasn't holy. No, something far darker had been waiting, watching, and working overtime to usher another type of manipulating demon spirit into his life. For Nick, the events on 71st Street and mostly Cleveland Street fueled a lifelong fascination, a natural extension of his deep connection to the otherworldly. He devours ghost hunting shows, so much so that upon his release, he will one day host his own show that will delve into the paranormal mysteries he believes he understands. The stories Stephanie told were a mix of fact and interpretation, filtered through the lens of a mother's fear and a son's fascination. Whether the house on Cleveland Street was truly haunted remains a mystery, a chilling enigma held captive within its painted walls. But for Nick and his family, it was a place that would forever be shrouded in shadows, a reminder that some doors once opened can never truly be closed. As always, thank you for tuning in. May you always be safeguarded by positivity and good spirits. Until next time, ghastly yours, Mr. Smiley and the NPG Cornerstone Nation.